Welcome back, everybody, to Quake Pro League. My name is Freya, and I have the absolute pleasure of being joined by ZenAku today. So first of all, thank you so much for taking the time of your day to join me. You currently occupy the 20th slot in the QPL, a spot that is yet to see a single non-relegation match win since the QPL's inception. How important is it for you to break this streak and overcome it?
You know, it's interesting you mentioned that because I actually didn't even realize that was the case until I actually just read that question. Well, I think it's hugely possible. I know that you know, these relegation matches, they're so interesting. Like they're played out quite interestingly. I mean, I think I've got a pretty good chance at defending it. It really does depend like who I do play against, and you know, if considering the conditions in the world right now, if they actually are played online, it probably does limit how well I can actually play. But I got to do what I have to do, and I think if I can play how I know I can play, I'm pretty sure I'll do fine. But at the same time, I'm not surprised because I know there is some still good challenger players out there, and if I'm not playing well and they're playing great, like they still have a pretty good chance to beat me.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, can you kind of talk us through your decision to move to Europe after qualifying for the QPL?
Well, I decided to move to Europe initially, mainly because I just actually wanted to be a better player. Like joining the QPL was kind of like an afterthought, which was just kind of a nice reward because of that. But really the main decision was always to be the best player that I can be. Moving forward, if Quake does continue, like I'll definitely be considering like my options and what I'm able to do. But primarily, like there was always been, for Australian players, it's not very easy for us to like kind of get to that next level. I mean, we've got really good players, Dan and Steege in Australia, who have managed to do that, even when they've gotten their international experience too. But for me, it was really about getting the experience from Europe and coming back. Ideally, I still want to like play internationally and actually live overseas for a long time. But the initial idea was always to be the best player that I can be, and I've definitely improved a lot since I've come here.
Now, you have quite an interesting story behind your move to Europe. Was there anybody who was kind of an influence in that factor?
Absolutely. Before I actually came here, I actually had a friend from Australia who's also goes by the Quake name Lua. And he was like someone that was kind of like rising up in Australia as well, and he wanted to just purely get better at Quake. And this is something I probably should have done during 2018 and 2019 as well. But yeah, he pretty much said to me, look, I want to go to Europe. Do you want to come with me? And I just said, absolutely, sounds good. So yeah, we've just pretty much been practicing together, learning on the European server, how to actually get better.
Yeah, I mean, that's great to hear. Can you kind of talk me through what your life has been like since moving to Europe?
It's been pretty much the same. I only say that because, my focus has really been Quake this entire time. And, the only difference when I was in Australia was, I could hang out with my friends more. I could work every day. Whereas now, I literally just wake up, do a bit of exercise, play Quake, review it, and just try to get better at that. That's the whole purpose of what this trip was all about. So that's really what I've been doing.
Well, you kind of alluded to it a little bit there, but specifically in terms of Quake, what kind of benefits have you found since playing against sort of European players and being in this space that allows you to just focus on Quake?
It's interesting how, when you take the time to just focus on one thing, how much of a bigger difference it really makes. If that's all I'm really thinking about, then I can. There are certain things that I wouldn't usually think of if I'm not playing every day and I'm not playing against these people. And the European players, they're always been known for many years that they've just always been the best or extremely good at Quake. And when I was in Australia, I really played a certain way, and that got me wins, but wasn't necessarily the right thing to do. And when I first came here, I pretty much lost almost every game. For 2 weeks, I think I won one match out of every 10 or something like that. And it was quite I knew that it wasn't going to be easy, but that was kind of the next step for me, was to kind of just see what was going wrong and eventually change it.
In terms of your kind of practice and preparation schedule, what are the kind of things that you've been focusing on, and has your move to Europe kind of allowed you to define what you should be focusing on to develop as a player?
I think just as I play the games, I kind of realize pretty quickly. I mean, my personality and just how I like interpret information, it can sometimes take me a bit of a long time to realize the mistakes I'm making. You know, people will tell me that I'm doing X thing incorrectly, and I'll know what they're saying, but I actually still don't know how to apply it. And then eventually I'll get to a stage where I know what they mean, and I can see that, and that's how I eventually apply it. But like I said, I think it's only something that if I was in Australia and I was like still working my regular job, I think I could come to the same conclusions, but it would just take me a lot longer. Whereas now when I'm always in that space, it's just happening a lot faster.
Now, your remaining 4 matches of the season are against Dahang, Saigab, Chain, and Doi. 4 players have been on the rise, and 3 of which currently sit inside that top 10. How are you kind of approaching these games in particular?
I'll be honest, I think I'm still not really quite at the level to be able to assess how someone else is playing and be able to like, how do I say, completely adjust my game style to be able to do that. I'm still kind of like refining my game where I play what I need to do. I know I kind of reactively still play to their play style, but I'm still doing the same thing where I'll watch their VODs, I'll see what champions they play. I know what champions I should play. So it's kind of standard procedure, but in future, I think I need to improve that a little bit.
Well, I'm very excited to see those matches play out. Thank you so much for taking the time to join me today, and good luck for this weekend's game.
All right, thanks so much.